Recap of the Sunday afternoon and final session of General Conference, which brought me to tears. People have been wondering whether we would keep up the same pace of building temples after the passing of President Nelson, and this final session gave us the answer. I've loved that we've had different apostles conducting each session in the absence of a first presidency, such as Elder Stevenson, Elder Cook, Elder Bednar. Speaking of Elder Bednar, he spoke first this session on how confronting God's final judgment doesn't need to be full of shame or worldly fear. When we use our moral agency and use the atonement, we can look forward to the pleasing bar of God. He discussed the difference between worldly fear and godly fear and how God's final judgment is always good. Elder P. Corey Cavalier spoke on the importance of our identity, which is not defined by the world, but rather by the ordinances we receive, the covenants we keep, the service we give. Just like President Nelson taught, we're children of God, children of the covenant, and disciples of Jesus Christ. Elder Matthew S. Holland creatively used the story of Jonah in the Old Testament to teach the doctrine of the fall, how understanding our mortal condition can help us deal with life's challenges. And not only that, but we can even experience astonishing joy in the hardest of trials when our focus is on the sign of Jonah, Jesus Christ. Elder Carlos A. Godoy shared how the growing church in Africa faces unique challenges, yet the saints in this part of the world are some of the best. They find joy in their circumstances and draw strength from Jesus Christ no matter what. Dale G. Renlund taught how linking our name with Christ will change everything about our lives. And he likened it to how this surgeon in the Russell M. Nelson chair at the University of Utah Medical School tries to emulate his life after President Russell M. Nelson because Nelson's name is linked to his. Elder John D. Amos said that just like you need a good recipe for gumbo or any great Southern dish, there is a recipe for good gospel living. But the best part is that there is a secret ingredient that makes sure it always comes out perfect, and the answer is always Jesus. So he shared how we can add more Jesus to our life. Elder Ozani Farias encouraged us to deepen our study of the Book of Mormon by committing to consistent study, using resources in the Gospel Library app, and recording what we've learned. And finally, President Dallin H. Oaks gave me a spiritual sucker punch in the gut and just really brought everything home for me this conference. He first announced that we would not be announcing any new temples this session of conference. It makes sense. President Nelson announced like 200 temples during his time, and we still need to get those built. President Oaks spent the rest of his talk expounding on the doctrine of the family. Careful to note that this talk was approved by President Nelson before his passing, but what really hit me was how this is so visceral and personal for him. Elder Oaks shared the story of his own unideal, broken, incomplete family. His father died when he was 7, and during this period where he was devastated, his grandfather came to him and said, "I will be your father." And he was really emotional during this. It just shows the role that extended family can play in healing wounds and bringing people together. Conference was amazing as usual. Be sure to follow this account for all the latest updates on the church, and join us tonight at the Informed Saints YouTube channel at around 8:30 for a live stream where we're going to share all the things we thought about conference.